Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This time we're doing my second to last, or next to last, 2022 House predictions. I'm planning to do a 2022 midterm election prediction combining the Senate, governorship races, and the House races all into one video on November 7th to be my final predictions for the 2022 midterms. So I highly suggest checking that out by November 7th. That's when I'm planning to release the video and planning to make it on November 6th at night. And I'll be uploading it November 7th in the morning. So let's get right into this. So far, this is the state of the race. We have about 42 competitive races, and we're going to be ranking them. So let's get into it. Alaska, by all metrics, I think Mary Patola is probably going to win. Sarah Palin's probably ranking her second on her ranked choice ballot, and Palin's not going to be making it to the next. Well, she could make it to the next round. It's really close. It could be Big H or Palin, but either candidate's still going to lose Patola by every poll I've seen. Schweihart is pretty much favored in this district. Democrats pretty much gave up at winning this district and flooding it with ads. Siscomani, he's probably going to win by a likely Republican margin. It's a very even district. Plus, Democrats kind of gave up at winning this. Tom O'Haran, he's probably going to lose by about 3 or 4 points. The Republican nominee. However, if Tom O'Haran is leading in this race, that means very well that House of Representatives could be up for grabs, which right now it's only like a 15% chance in my mind that Democrats have at winning it because there's just so many races that are competitive in blue-leaning states. Okay, let's go to California on here. This is Garcia's district. I think he's going to pull off a lean margin of victory. Let me just pull up California's map really quick. There we go. Valadejo, I think he's going to narrowly edge it off. However, the early voting numbers in California is pretty good for Democrats. It's just that in Mike Garcia's district, it kind of pulled some ads here and shifting it to other California races like Valadejo's district, California 13, Josh Harder. In California 13, I think Democrats are narrowly favored, which is pretty surprising. It's a very democratically favored district, but a lot of blue districts are being more competitive in blue states. Josh Harder, agree with this prediction. Mike Levin, yeah, I think it's going to be lean blue. While Katie Porter, I think she's going to win by a likely margin. So let's go back to the ratings. Okay, good. Tennessee's district right in the middle here, it's going to be solid Republican victory. Don't really think it's going to be that competitive. Let's scroll down here. Agree with these ratings. Colorado, I agree. It's going to be a lean Republican district. Could have been more competitive, but the Democratic candidate wasn't that strong, apparently. Excuse for that phone ringing. Yeah, it ended already. Oh, it's still going, whatever. In Connecticut's district, I think that it's going to be a tilt margin of victory for the Democrats. It's been a lot more competitive in the polling so far. It's like shown it's a decently like 45-45 race, and sometimes it even has George Logan up a point against Johanna Hayes. But I still think she's going to pull off the victory. It's a very blue-leaning district, but it's going to be one of the closer districts. In Iowa's second, it's going to be a likely margin of victory for the Republican candidate here. I don't really think it's going to be that competitive. While Axne, she's probably going to lose by a lean Republican margin just because her district's a very neutral one, and it's a red-leaning year. Okay, Illinois' 13th district, I think it's a fairly lean Democratic district. Don't think it's going to be super competitive, but it'll be within 5 points. Cherry Bustos district, I think it's going to be tilting towards the Democrats just so narrowly. And Kansas's 3rd district, I think the Democrats are going to win here by a lean margin. I mean, the New York Times poll basically showed her up here by a very large margin, by a likely margin even. So I don't think she's going to win that by that much, but she's for sure probably going to win. In Texas, I think Maria Flores is still looking to lose, but she's gained a lot of momentum recently. Democratic candidate is struggling to win this district, which is surprising. Henry Kuehler, still think he's going to win. He's a very moderate Democrat, and I think he's going to pull off a victory here in Texas. In Oregon's 5th, I think the Republicans have an advantage just because of the polling I've seen. Shows that the more progressive Democrat is struggling to win this moderate Democrats district that she beat, or Kurt Schrader, the moderate Democrat, she beat him in a primary, and I think he refused to endorse her, which is definitely hurting her in this district for sure. Well, I think this district's going to be lean Democratic, and this one's going to have a Democratic tilt just because both these districts are very Democratic, but the polls have shown it getting a lot more closer. Kim Schreier still think has the advantage in this district by probably winning by about 3 or 4%. And in the Nevada districts, they're all toss-ups. Stephen Horsford, think he's favored here by narrow margin, as well as Dina Titus, but polls have shown extremely close in this district. Well, Susie Lee, I think she's probably going to lose here so far, but Democrats could very well win it, but I think she's probably going to lose. Okay. Let's head to Michigan now. There it is. All right. So, in this district, Republicans pretty much nominated a very weak Republican candidate. They beat Peter Meyer in the primary, and he probably could have won this district by a lean Republican margin. So Republicans are going to regret doing that with John Gibbs. He's pretty weak, and he's probably going to lose by 3 to 4 points, I would say. In Daniel Kildey's district, I think it's fairly safe to say it's going to be a lean Bulu district. He's probably going to win by about 2 to 3 points. While Slotkin, I think he's narrowly favored here, and I think she has the tilt margin, but it is for sure a toss-up district. In Michigan 10, it's John James running here. I think he's a fairly decent Republican candidate, so he's going to win here by about 3 to 4 points. Let's go back to the main map again. All right, Maine's 2nd. I think it's safe to say Jared Gold's going to win by a lean blue margin. He's done a great job at marketing himself as a moderate Democrat, so I think he's going to be able to win here. In New Hampshire's district, I think the Democrats favored here by a lean blue margin. The Republican candidate here is very extreme, so it doesn't shock me that the Democrat will win here. So let's scroll down so you can see the margins again. All right, Angela Craig, I think she's narrowly favored. I agree with the pro rating consensus on this one. Well, Bo Hines is probably going to win by a lean Republican margin. Don Bacon, for I'm winning by a likely margin. Not going to put it to lean. I think it possibly could be competitive considering how much Biden won this district, but I still think he's favored. Malinowski's district, I think Keene's going to be able to beat him here. I mean, I've seen the ads against Malinowski, so I do think there were decent ads, so they're spending their money in the right place, Republicans, and I think they're going to pull off a victory here. In New Mexico's 2nd, polls have been showing it's a tilt Democratic race. However, do have to give some strength to the Republican incumbent here, so I think she still will ward off that challenger. All right. I think we'll go to the New York map mode for this one because there's a lot of tiny districts in New York. Let's get it up. Okay. So Morrell, yes, it has gone to a likely Democratic race. Most pros, or election pros, have pretty much pushed this into the likely column. The Republican here, Williams, he's actually leading in the polls. Sienna showed him up here by like 5%. Plus, this is where Katko used to reside, so there's a lot of moderate Democrats in this district who would vote for a more moderate Republican. Now, Andrew Garbarino, he's going to win by a safe margin. Don't really think it's going to be that competitive. In Lee Zeldin's old district, he is making the race for governor a lot more competitive. He's putting it to the likely column, so I do think he's going to get a lot of Republicans to turn out on Long Island. So that'll definitely benefit the House candidate for Republicans here in the Suffolk County part of Long Island. In Kathleen Rice, I think she's going to win by about 4% against her Republican opponent, while in the district right above her, Swazi's old district, Zimmerman's only going to narrowly defeat his Republican opponent. It's a real toss-up district. It's going to be one of the closer ones, especially because Zeldin's bringing a lot of election day, or just a lot of turnout in general for Republicans on Long Island. So it'll definitely come to a benefit of Republicans here. With Mark Molinaro, I think he's narrowly favored to win here. Before, pretty much had it as the Democrats winning it, but now I think he's going to pull off a victory just because of how close the governor race is. It's going to have a down ballot about Pat Ryan. I think it's fairly certain he's going to win. He's going to win by about 3 to 4 points. I think he's a very strong candidate for this part of upstate New York. Well, Sean Patrick Maloney now, his race, some polls have shown it into the tilt Republican column, but those were Republican-leaning polls, so I do think he's in quite a bit of danger. I'm going to put it as a toss-up seat for now. It's definitely in the tilt range, but I still think he's going to pull off a victory. Or however, Lee Zeldin doing so well, it's definitely going to hurt him. That's for sure. Okay, in Ohio, 13th district, I think the Republicans are favored to win here by a decently comfortable margin, about 3 to 4 points. While Steve Chabot, he's going to be in one of the most competitive House races. If Democrats are winning this race, I wouldn't be surprised, but I still think he's narrowly favored because he is the incumbent. There's a bit of an incumbent advantage in American politics. Now, Marcy Kaptur, again, incumbent advantage, plus her Republican opponent is sort of weak for this district. I mean, there's conflict over whether or not he actually served in the military. So, yeah, I think Kaptur's narrowly favored here, but it's one of the swing districts, I would say. In Rhode Island's 2nd district, I still think Fung's favored to win here. Most polls shown him up. Even Democrat Inside polling has it as a tied race, so I think the Republican candidate is indeed leading right now. But there's a lot of undecideds who could break for the Democrats, but I think they're going to be electing Fung in Rhode Island. So let me scroll down to the next few races. Susan Wild's district. I agree with the rating. It's definitely a tilt Republican race, and it's one race to keep an eye on for House control. If Democrats are winning, that means the Republicans are only in the low T20s for the House of Representatives in terms of seats, which means House might flip in 2024 fairly easily if Biden pulls off a strong showing in 2024. Cartwright, he's an electoral juggernaut. He's been leading in the New York Times poll by like 6%, but I think at times the New York Times could miss Rust Belt elections by a bit, couple points off. I think Cartwright's going to win here by 2 to 3 points against his Republican opponent. I don't think he's going to lose his district. He's done a fairly good job in Congress as pretty much showing himself as a populist in the state. So I think his just populist ways of talking and appealing to in terms of policies is going to get him a win here. Chris DeLuzzo, I think he's narrowly favored to win here, but it's going to be a toss-up race for sure. Let's see. Elaine Loria's district. I think the Republicans narrowly favored to win here. However, this race could go either way, but with 2022 being a red-leaning year, I think Republicans are going to pull off a victory here. Now, Spanberger, I think she's going to win by a lean Democratic margin. It'll probably be a 3% to 4% victory for her in this district. And let's scroll back up to check if we don't have any toss-ups. And we have a toss-up somewhere. Oh, yeah. David Trun's district. It's going to be a lean Democratic one. I don't think it's going to be likely, but it could be. I think he's going to win by 3 to 4%. And, yeah, that's my House map. 227 Republicans to 208 Democrats. So far, Republicans are winning 9 of the tilt seats compared to the Democrats' 13, but Democrats really lucked out with a lot of strong candidates. Slotkin, Kaptur, Cartwright. They're responsible for them winning a lot of these toss-up districts. And there's a lot of toss-up districts in fairly blue-leaning states as well. Sean Patrick Maloney, Johanna Hayes district. In Oregon, just the Democrats' failure to really get their bases to turn out for them or even vote for them here. So that's my election prediction for the House of Representatives in 2022. We're going to be doing another video on this on November 7th. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.